tutorial. Today we're going to be working on a market bag, just like this one here. I've seen a couple patterns online for very similar bags, but most of them, well, some of them, they're worked partially in the round, and then not all the way. And I've even got a very similar pattern of my own to do a granny square market bag. But I do work some back and forth rows, and I just don't really like doing that. I like staying in the round. I think it's a lot easier to crochet in the round. I'm really bad at working rows. So I've been working on a bag that's done entirely in the round, and this is what I've come up with. So we're going to be making a bag like this. It's very similar in pattern to the crochet produce bag I've worked on, which you can check out my previous videos. We basically work the same pattern, and we just keep increasing until we get a nice big square like this. And this is about 2 feet across. It's very stretchy, but it's a sturdy cotton yarn. I like using the sugar and cream. It's a worsted weight. It's nice, soft but sturdy. And it's going to give us a nice stretchy bag. So let's see. So the basic construction is you start out with your square, and then you work and gather in all the sides of the square, so it will start to pull in like this. And then once it's gathered in a little bit, you run a handle from corner to corner, and that's how you end up with the bag like this. That's how you go from the square to the bag. This here is two skeins that were 2.5 ounces of the sugar and cream. This is the amount of yarn I was left with. I was kind of playing yarn chicken as I got to the end, but I did make it. This bag is 22 rounds and about 2 feet across. And I'm going to use another skein to work the handles, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to show you how I start making the square and work around. Okay, here we go. So to start this market bag, we're going to do the exact same things that we did to start the crochet produce bag. If you haven't used an adjustable ring or magic ring before, this is an amazing trick, and I love it. So you drape the yarn over your fingers, wrap it around, and cross it over. And then insert your hook and just draw a little loop through. And then make a little chain from it. Now we're going to work 6 single crochets into our magic ring. So I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, draw up that loop, yarn over again, and draw through both loops. So that's 1 single crochet. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here comes the magic part of the magic circle. All you have to do is pull that tail, and the circle loops back around itself, pulls it tight, and you've got a nice little ring of single crochets. So now we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet to close our circle. And that's the end of round 1. Now to start round 2, I'm going to crochet these 2 threads together just to tuck that little tail in a little bit. So it's going to be doubled over just for a little while. If you want to do that, you can, or you can just weave your end in later. Now for round 2, we're going to work 2 double crochets into each single crochet around the circle, and every time we do a double crochet, it's going to always be followed up with chain 2. To do the first one, into this first single crochet, we're going to chain 3, and that counts as our double crochet. And then we're going to chain 2, because we basically just did a double crochet and we always have to follow that up with chain 2. And now into that same single crochet space, we're going to work another double crochet. And follow that up with chain 2. So now we're on to the second single crochet space, that's this one here, and we're going to do the same thing, work a double crochet and chain 2, and then another double crochet and chain 2. So that's 1, and 2, and chain 2. Okay, now we're into the third one, same thing. Okay, so we're about halfway around, and we're just going to keep doing the same thing the rest of the way around this round. Okay, so we're back to the last stitch here. We're going to do the same thing. It's 1 double crochet and chain 2. And another double crochet and chain 2. Okay, so here we are, we're back around just about to the beginning here. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch into this chain 5 that we started with. We had the 3 chains for the double crochet and then chain 2. I think some people tend to be a little bit more careful about where they insert their hook, but I just go into the hole, pull loop through. So we just finished round 2, and we have 2 double crochets in every single crochet of the last round, which means we have 12 stitches all around. So now we're going to start our pattern in round 3. We're going to start off with chain 5 just like we did in the last round, and then again that counts as a double crochet plus chain 2, and this is going to be our first corner space. So in the same space here we're going to work another double crochet followed by chain 2. Now in the next 2 spaces we're just going to do 1 double crochet in each space. So 1 double crochet and chain 2, and then we're going to move on to the next space, which is right here, and do the same thing. Now this next space is going to be another corner space, which means we're going to work 2 double crochets into the same space. So we're going to do 1 double crochet and then chain 2, and then we're going to work another double crochet, and of course chain 2. So we've got one corner and the second corner. So the next thing we're going to do is in the next 2 spaces work 1 double crochet in each space and follow each double crochet up with chain 2. So that's 1 and chain 2 and 2 and chain 2. So now we're up to a corner space again. So we're going to do the same thing, 2 double crochet and chain 2s into the same space. And chain 2. Now we're going to work the next side, which in the next 2 spaces work just 1 double crochet and chain 2. Okay, so now we're up to the last corner. So again, we're going to work 2 double crochet and chain 2s into the same space of the previous round. So we have 1 and 2, and we're down to the last side here. We've got 2 spaces left. So we're going to just work 1 double crochet and chain 2 in each of those spaces. Okay, so now we are just about all the way around here. We've got 1 corner, 2, 3, and 4. We just need to join. So I just slip my hook into that whole space and slide 1 through. So now we're at the end of round 3, and we're going to basically do the same thing in the next round. So every time we're in a corner space, we're going to do 2 double crochets and chain 2s, and every time we're just running along the side, each space just gets 1 double crochet. And you're going to know it's a corner space because you're going to see 2 double crochets coming out of the same space in the previous round. Okay, now we're ready to start the next round. This will be round 4. We're going to start the same way as always with a chain 5. The first 3 chains count as a double crochet, and the next 2 chains are just the chain 2. So we're starting in a corner space, which means we need to work another double crochet and chain 2 into the same space. And then we just get to work across. So this is the next 3 spaces are just the side of the square. So they each get 1 double crochet followed by a chain 2. Alright, so here we are up to the next corner space. We can tell because it's the space between 2 double crochets that were worked into the same space in the previous round. So we're going to do our corner stitch, which is a double crochet and chain 2, followed by another double crochet and chain 2 worked into the same space. So on to the next side. And we're up to another corner space again. So we're going to work our 2 double crochets into the same space. Add another corner. Okay, and now we're on to the last side of the square. And to join, just like before, slip stitch into that space. Okay, so that's the end of round 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll do one more round just to show you how it keeps working up, but basically we're just going to keep doing the same thing around and around. On every side, just work 1 double crochet and chain 2 into each space, and then when you get to a corner space, work 2 double crochets and chain 2s. Okay, we're just about back to the beginning of the round here, which we close off with a slip stitch. So there we go. We're just going to keep working around in the same way until you get your square as large as you want it. You can just keep going and going and going forever if you want. I stopped at 22 rounds, which is this here. It's a good size. For me, it ended up being about 2 feet across, and I think that's going to make me a nice size bag. But fortunately this pattern is very flexible, so once you understand the mechanics behind how we're going to gather it in and make our handles, you can make it whatever size you want. So I'm going to take a little break here, and then we'll move on, and starting with this larger bag, I'll switch to a contrasting yarn to make the edging and handles. It took me about 3 hours to work through the 2 skeins to get the bag this large, so I won't torture you with watching all of that, and we'll just skip right from our square here over to the bag I've already made. Okay, so we're ready to start our gathering rounds. As I mentioned before, I did 22 rounds to get this large square, and I used up 2 skeins of sugar and cream yarn. That was, they were 2.5 ounces each. So I joined my last row just like I did all the others with a slip stitch into the chain 5 where I started, and now I've just cut off my tail and I'm ready to add my next color. So to do the first gathering round, in every corner space we're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then on every side space, instead of doing a double crochet, chain 2 like we have been doing, we're just going to do a single crochet, chain 1, and then in the next space single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, all the way around until we get to the corner space. And like I said, in every corner space we're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, and then another single crochet. But after that second single crochet in the corner space, we're not going to chain 1, we're just going to go right into the next space with a single crochet. And I'm going to mark my corners so that I can see them very easily, so I know where to work my decreases and where to start my handles as I go around. That's what these little scraps are for. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I seem to have lost my hook. There it is. Okay. So there's my join, and I'm gonna put my hook back in and then just draw up a loop in the new color, and that, let me make sure I don't get it backwards. There we go. And that's going to be equivalent to a chain one, and I will just work these ends in later. So now I'm going to start my marker. And start with a chain one into this, or sorry, a single crochet into this corner space. And then chain one, and then another single crochet into the same space. Now we're going to be working along the side, so it's just going to be a single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one, all the way across till I get to the next corner space. So there's the single crochet and chain one, single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one. Okay, so we're about to be back into the corner space, so I'm going to throw in another stitch marker here. And single crochet to the corner space, chain one, and just for good measure I'm going to do a second stitch marker. And another single crochet. So that's our first side down, and I forgot to put in a second stitch marker here, so I'm just going to throw that in real quick. I like to have both of those single crochets marked in the corners. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward, and we can just do that all the way around the bag. I'm going to show you on this side just a few stitches of alternative. This is actually what I did on the brown bag. If you can see here, instead of doing a chain one, I did a foundation single crochet after each single crochet, but I think just doing the chain one is going to make it look a little nicer. But in case you want to give this other style a try, I'll show you what I did here. And it's also a good chance to go over the foundation single crochet again. I think it's a stitch everyone should master. So there's our single crochet. Now to do a foundation single crochet, I'm gonna see how this is a loop here. I'm gonna put my hook through and split that loop and make sure I'm catching on the left side the back part of that loop, and I'm gonna draw one through, chain, and that's my foundation, and then single crochet by yarning over and drawing through the other two loops on my hook. So again, we have this loop, and then this part's the back of the loop. So I'm going to insert my hook here, make sure I have two loops on, yarn over, draw it through. Actually, there we go. Want to make sure we're actually joining it to the next space, and then single crochet. Okay, so again, we've got our single crochet here. I find my nice loop, insert my hook, make sure I've got the 2 showing there, draw one through, chain, yarn over, draw through both loops. That's the foundation and the single crochet. So we're going to put our loop through those 2 loops, insert it into the next space, draw a loop through, and single crochet. Okay, so that's an option if you want to do that. I think it's going to look just as good doing a single crochet and a chain 1. So again, single crochet, chain 1, move on to the next space, single crochet, chain 1, and we're going to do that all the way around to the next corner. Then we're going to do our corner stitch, then work the other remaining sides until we get all the way back to where we started. Okay, so here we are back at a corner. I can tell because there's the 2 double crochets coming out of the same spot. So we're going to work, well, again I'm going to do some stitch markers here. So that's my single crochet, chain 1, and then 1 more single crochet. So let's not forget my stitch marker. One more single crochet in the same space. And then after that second single crochet, don't chain 1, just move into the next space with a single crochet. Okay, so we've made it just about all the way around on our first gathering round. We're into the last space here, so we're just going to work the last single crochet and chain 1. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the single crochet that started the round. You want to make sure you aren't trying to work into the chain 1 here. Okay, just a little slip stitch. We're good to go. Alright, so you can see here the sides are already starting to gather up in a little bit. Starting to pull around. And we've just worked all the way around and we've got our stitch markers in. Seem to have missed one here. And we're back around to the beginning. So we're going to do another gathering round. Try to pull the sides in a little bit more. On this round, we're going to work 3 single crochets in every corner space. And then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together the rest of the way around. So to get started, we're going to chain 1 and then single crochet into that same space. And then we're going to single crochet into that chain 1 space. And then we're going to single crochet again into the second single crochet we made into the corner. And I'm going to go ahead and put my last stitch marker in here so that I know exactly where my round started. Alright, so that's the corner done with those 3 single crochets. So now we're going to start gathering a little more. So to do single crochet 2 together, you insert your hook into the first stitch, draw up a loop, then insert it into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and then yarn over and draw a loop through all 3. And we're just going to do that all the way across the side. So again, insert your hook into that single crochet, drop a loop, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, drop a loop, yarn over, and draw through all 3 loops at once. And that's really starting to pull our stitches together. We're basically cutting the number of stitches in this side in half. Okay, we're almost to the next corner. So this is the last single crochet of the previous round, and then that chain 1. We're going to single crochet those 2 together. And now we're into our corner space. I can tell because I marked that stitch, so we're going to do 3 single crochets. So 1 into that first stitch, 1 into that chain 1 space, and then 1 into that second single crochet. Okay, so that's one side gathered, and we're gonna do the same thing on all the other sides. Single crochet 2 together across. So I think I just want to point out, I'm just going right into this gap. I'm not trying to catch up here. I think some styles of crochet would do that, but I'm a little sloppy and fast. So I'm just going right into the space, and I think it looks okay. So I'm happy with it. If it makes you happy to do it another way, knock yourself out. Okay, so we're up to the next corner. Again, we're just going to work 3 single crochets. 1 in the single crochet, 1 in that chain 1 space, and then 1 in the next single crochet. Alright, so we've got 2 sides done. Definitely starting to draw up the sides here. So I'm going to cut the video and catch back up when I make it all the way around back to the beginning. Okay, so here we are, the end of the round. We're almost to the end of the row, and I just wanted to go into a little more detail here. This is the last single crochet, and this is the last chain. And we're going to single crochet 2 together with those 2. Then here's where it can get a little confusing, and this is why I marked my stitch. So we don't want to try to single crochet these 2 together, because this is the slip stitch that joined the last round, and then this is the chain 1 that we started with to get our height right to do that single crochet. So what I'm going to do is just ignore these 2, skip over them, and slip stitch into the top of that single crochet to finish the round and pull it tight. Alright, so that's the end of the second gathering round. As you can see, the sides really are starting to pull in quite a bit now. And what we should have is 3 single crochets, and then along the side is another 22 stitches, and then that'd be from here to here, and then another 3 single crochets, and then along the next side another 22 stitches, and so on all the way around. And again, we've got our corners marked. So this round, I don't want to cut in half again. I want to get down to about 14 stitches. So what I'm going to do is a single crochet in each of these corner spots, and then I'm going to single crochet 2 together, and then 6 times I'm going to work 1 single crochet and then single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet 2 together, single crochet 2 together, until I get down to my last 2 stitches, which is these 2 here, and then I'm going to single crochet those 2 together. And then I'm going to move my stitch markers up so that it's easier to see in the next round, but these are my 3 single crochets that are the corner, and I'm just going to do a single crochet in each of those, and then I'm going to repeat all of that around every side and in every corner. So here we go. To get started, just like before, we're going to chain 1, and I'm going to move up a stitch marker so I know where my round starts. Work 1 single crochet into the next space, and then I'm going to mark the end of the corner. This is my 3rd single crochet. So now I'm up to the side, and so that I reduce by the proper amount, this is the pattern that I've worked out so that I don't reduce by too many stitches, but I'm gathered enough that things aren't falling out the top of my bag all the time. So that was single crochet 2 together, and now I'm going to single crochet 1 and then single crochet 2 together. So that was 1, and this is the second one, so single crochet and then single crochet 2 together. This is going to be my 3rd, so 1 single crochet 2 together. This will be the 4th, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together. This will be the 5th, single crochet 2 together. And the last one, 6th, single crochet 2 together. And now I'm at my last 2 stitches of the side, and I'm going to just single crochet those 2 stitches together. Okay, so now I'm at my corner again, and I'm going to pull up this stitch marker, just move it up. So 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and move up that other stitch marker, and 3. So you can see the sides real gathered in here, and I think that's going to give me a good shape for my bag. Okay, so we're going to work that same pattern down the next side in these 22 stitches. And I'll go over it once more, and then I'll cut to the end of the round. So we remember, we start off with single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to do the next 3 stitches at a time. It's a single crochet and then single crochet 2 together. Single crochet, single crochet 2 together. That was 2. This is 3. This is 4. Single crochet, 2 together. This should be 5. Two together. Last set of 3, that's 6. Single crochet 2 together. And then the last 2 stitches of the side is this and this one, and we're just gonna single crochet 2 together right there. And that puts us up at the next corner. So again, I'm going to keep moving my stitch markers up and work the same thing down the last 2 sides. Alright, so you can see here I made it almost all the way back around. On the 3rd gathering round, I just have these last 2 stitches of this side to single crochet together. And just like before, we want to make sure we don't try to work into that slip stitch or that chain 1, and we're just going to slip stitch right into the top of that single crochet. Okay, so now we should have 3 single crochets in each corner and 14 stitches along each side. And the bag is really starting to draw in here. As you can see. So here you've got an option if you want to, you could just single crochet in each stitch around. When I do my decreases, the stitches tend to get a little long and lanky, and if you wanted to clean that up a little bit, another round would do the trick, but I'm going to go ahead and start right in on the handle rounds. So here's where we start. We're still in that corner space, so I'm going to chain 1 and then do 3 single crochets. And I'm going to move up this stitch marker too so I don't lose track of where my round started. I should have just done that when I made the stitch, but I forgot. Okay, so what we're going to do now is make our handle using a foundation single crochet. And you could use just a chain instead, but I really like the foundation single crochet. I was a little hesitant to try it at first, but now that I know how to do it, I'm going to use it for everything I can. It makes the next round a lot easier. So what we're going to do is make our foundation single crochet as our handle, and then we're going to join it to the corner stitch over here, which is why it was so critical to mark that stitch. It makes it so much easier for you. So make sure you do that, and if you haven't done that, put your marker in so you aren't guessing later. And we're just going to skip this whole side here. So to do the foundation single crochet, I'm going to try to do this a little closer up and try to stay in focus. Okay, I'm trying again because as I was crocheting I wandered out of screen and you couldn't see what I was talking about. So let's try this again. So we've single crocheted into the last single crochet of that corner, and now we're going to start our foundation single crochet. So we're looking at this loop here, which is where I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to make sure I kick the back side of it off to the left as I insert my hook. So I've got the loop that I started with, and then I almost have 2 other loops that I'm sliding through. We're just going to draw a loop through. And then we're going to yarn over and draw through just one of those loops, which is sort of like chaining just through that loop. That makes our foundation. And then I'm going to yarn over and draw through the other 2 loops on my hook, and that's a single crochet. And now we're going to do the next stitch, we're going to insert through that foundation, which was this part here. We're going to make sure we catch the back of the foundation as well. So we're going to have 2 loops here. We're going to do the same thing. Pull a loop through, chain the loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So now we have 1 foundation single crochet and 2 foundation single crochets. And we get this nice pattern here of a loop through a loop and a loop through a loop, and we've got nice pretty single crochet stitches up top. So to do the third one, we're going to insert the hook into that foundation, yarn over and draw a loop through, chain the foundation, and then make the single crochet. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 foundation single crochets. Okay, so you just keep doing that until you have 45. I recommend marking every 10 or so, just so you can keep track and don't lose count. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the video again and join you once I've gotten all 45 foundation single crochets done, and then I'll show you how to join it over here. Okay, so we're back. I have a nice long handle, 45 foundation single crochets here. It's got a little stretch to it. Make sure yours isn't too tight, but it looks pretty. We can see a nice set of tops of single crochets here. So we've got our 45 foundation single crochets, or however many you wanted to do. We're going to start the next one the same, pull a loop through, and then we're going to come here to our corner stitch, which we have marked. Draw a loop through here, and then yarn over and draw through all 3. And the next part's pretty easy. We're going to do single crochets all down this side. So that's the last of the ones in the corner. And then we're going to single crochet along the whole side and into the next corner and all the way to the 3rd single crochet of the next corner. Okay, so that was all the single crochets on the side, and we have 3 left to make that corner. Okay, now we're ready to do our second handle, and I should have mentioned when you make that joining stitch, you want to make sure your set of foundation single crochets doesn't have any twists in it. That'll cause you problems later. But we're going to do the same thing over here, another 45 foundation single crochets, and join. Alright, so I've made it to the end of my second handle. We're going to make sure we don't have any twists in that foundation single crochet, and we're going to join again, the same way we did before. So start off your foundation single crochet, draw up the loop, then insert your hook into the stitch you want to join, draw up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. The rest is pretty easy. We're going to work single crochets in all the rest of the stitches along the rest of this round. Make sure we don't accidentally work into the slip stitch and the chain 1. We're going to join with a slip stitch, and then we're going to do the next few rounds just single crochet in every stitch around. I usually do 3 of these rounds because I think that makes a nice thick handle. You can do more or less depending on you know, how thick you want the top of your bag and your handles. So here's us finishing off last 2 stitches at the corner, and then working single crochets all down this last side. Okay, so here we are just about at the end of this round. We've got 2 stitches left. There we go. Now just make sure, again, we don't go into the slip stitch or the chain 1. We're just going to slip stitch right into the top of that single crochet. Okay, so the next 3 rounds are pretty easy. We're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and we're going to keep joining like we have been joining with the slip stitch and then chain 1 to start the next round and work that first stitch into the same spot. So I'm going to move a stitch marker into that stitch again so I know where my round has started. I recommend moving your stitch markers up every round, and just start single crocheting. So that was the 3 single crochets in our corner. Here's the first stitch in the handle, and keep going around. Alright, so I'll catch up with you again at the end of 3 rounds, and we'll take a look at finishing off the bag and check out how much stuff this thing can hold. Alrighty, so we're on the very last row here, almost back to the beginning. I've got one last single crochet to make, and then join the round. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off my tail, pull my loop through, and take out my stitch markers. So I just need to weave my ends in and my bag's done. So let's see how much we can get in this bag, because it looks a little on the small side, but it's going to be able to hold a lot of things. So I'm just gonna adjust my camera real quick, and I picked up some things from around my apartment. See if we could fit in this bag. So first we've got our reusable water bottle, and it's full. We have a cucumber, some celery, some potatoes, lentils, split peas, a bag of nuts, and it's getting a little heavy there. Still got some volume to it. Nice bag of chips. And all that's in there, no problem. Totally lifted off the table here. The bag just stretches out and accommodates everything. And I think I even have room for my ukulele. Because who doesn't want to go to the farmer's market without their ukulele? So there you go. Nice bag full of all the things you could possibly want. And we're good to go. So hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial, and hopefully I'll catch you again soon on my next video.